Because of decades of sanctions against South Africa and the skewed priorities of the apartheid era, the jump from our own closed environment into the international arena brought enormous challenges. We could appear naive at times, and sometimes when matches, races or run chases are in the balance, it is experience, professional rigor, and a winning mentality that steer a champion through. When I look across our sporting landscape now and compare it to 1994, I see very clear symbols of advancement. There are state-of-the-art stadiums across our cities, a reminder that the world eagerly wanted to play sport in South Africa. There's also a need to look beneath. There is still much work to be done in making opportunities available to all, particularly to the youth of the country. It would be hard to overstate the role sport has in enriching individual lives, opening minds, and fostering the togetherness that should always be a guiding principle for South Africa. We feel it with each new triumph we experience, whether watching live in a stadium or via television, or through enjoying the sort of reporting this book provides, with its fresh look at some of the famous moments and by turning the spotlight on moments of which it will always be important to be reminded. Undoubtedly, there will be more stories like these in the next quarter century, most of them featuring a generation of sports people who have done almost all their growing up in the years since 1994. I look at our champions who are now in their 20s, and I feel certain they will light up our lives well into the next decade and beyond. Lucas Radebe, February 2019. Part 1. Honeymoon. Chapter 1. The Crafty Croucher of the Carousel. Vuyani Bungu beats Kennedy McKinney to capture the IBF Junior Featherweight title, August 1994. Vuyani Bungu took his sweet time trying to decide whether boxing was for him. One of 6 children, he grew up on a street with no name. His house had a number, 3414. But the street itself remained nameless, so the local football team simply called themselves 34 United, a reference to the first 2 numbers of all the houses round about. Bungu played on the left wing, handy, but no John Shoes Mashweo. He wasn't sure he even liked the game. Boxing in the East London township of Mdantsane was completely unlike football. It was woven into the tapestry of township life, part of the taste of the place. Nkosana Happy Boy Mngqaji was an early township favorite, and both of Bungu's older brothers, Mbulelo and Temba, boxed, although neither to any great standard. Whether you lived on a street with no name or not, sooner or later you had to raise your fists and confront the sport. Bungu circled around it for years, sometimes pulling away to watch from the comfort of the ropes. The indecision was as metaphysical as it was practical. For Bungu, there was a profound taboo in hitting people, causing them pain. Boxing might have been hung in the soupy Mdantsane air, but listening carefully to Bungu suggests the decision was a hard one. Hitting a person, for me, for no reason, here Bungu gently taps his temple twice, it doesn't make sense. Bungu was lured into the ring by the presence in the township of the trainer Mzi Mnguni. The older man was doubly blessed. Not only had he ventured to the faraway city of gold and lived to tell the tale, but he also loved the sport as he would a child. Having returned from 9 years on the Rand, he used his savings to open the Ayetu supermarket close to Bungu's home in Mdantsane's Zone 8. There, he saw the basics around which township life revolved. During downtime, Mnguni dipped into a collection of boxing videos as wide as the Buffalo River mouth. Word was that, if boxing was on your radar, he was worth seeking out. As a young man, Mzi came up to the Rand to find work, which was difficult for an out-of-towner, says promoter Rodney Berman, a longtime associate of both Mnguni and Bungu. He was struggling and getting desperate. Eventually, he was offered a job as what was called a delivery boy in those days. So he arrives at work one Monday morning, and the basket of his bike is stacked high with parcels. They ask if he knows the address of where everything needs to be delivered, and he says yes, and off he goes.